Follow the money.
That's what I always say. You always follow the money.
Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Pauly Howard on VSiN.
It's good to have you on board here on a Football Friday, a pre-Christmas Football Friday. Mitch Moss, Pauly Howard, live in downtown Las Vegas from the Circa Resort and Casino. And this show is brought to you by DraftKings every Friday at this time. Adam Chernoff joins the program. He's awesome, analyzing, betting on the NFL, breaking down all these games. You can follow him on X at Adam Chernoff, and you can listen to his podcast. It's called The Simple Handicap. Adam, happy holidays. Merry Christmas. How are you?
Same to you guys. Doing great. We are a couple hours away from a big weekend, so maybe a bit of an exhale here as we get football spread out across a couple days.
Yep, agreed. Before we get into the games, your takeaways from last night, the final score, little misleading. That was all Rams. They were awesome on offense yet again. What caught your eye watching them take out the Saints last night?
Another playoff contender team over. And this has been kind of sneaky the last 2 weeks. Last week on the segment, I think a lot of people enjoyed some of the totals that were given out. Saturday games were going over. Got a few more on Sunday, and it's probably like, why are we talking so many overs here? What's going on? But guys, we've seen 7 games in the last 3 weeks between these wild card teams in the AFC and the NFC playing each other that are kind of like, you have all these teams, 6 in the AFC, 6 in the NFC. They're kind of bunged up for those last 1 or 2 playoff spots for the wild cards, 6 and 7, 7 and 7, 8 and 7, right in that range. All these games have gone over. And so what's happening here? Why is this happening? I thought last night was a really good illustration of what's going on. We've seen a couple teams in these games get out to big leads, but they haven't taken the foot off the gas like they traditionally have during the regular season. We've seen the teams trailing get into chase mode, and these defenses are playing this prevent, and we're getting teams catching up. Think back to Minnesota, Cincinnati. Cincinnati comes roaring back in the fourth quarter. You're getting all these fourth down decision-making that you're leading to more aggression. You're having teams go for it. You're having teams fail around midfield because they're electing not to punt at a slightly higher rate. We're seeing pass rates for these teams spike quite a bit as well. And this all just kind of represents that we're in kind of the elimination game phase with all of these teams when they end up playing against each other. There's so much more urgency and desperation in these games. And where it's getting really interesting, last night was kind of the first example we've had in a couple weeks where it wasn't the case because that total closed 45.5. But we have so many QB question marks that we're usually seeing these games with really short totals, like a few we'll talk about today. But that game, to me, had a lot of points that were unrealized last night, where we had the fourth down stops like close to the goal line. We had some short field goals. We had the Saints turning it over around midfield a couple times. But it just kind of represented what we're getting when we have these 2 wild card teams facing off. And I think it's going to be like that the rest of the season. It's just these teams are playing completely different in these matchups than what you see during the regular season so far. And the overs keep coming in. So that's 7-0 now with these teams and the wild card spots playing each other the last 3 weeks.
How many other games fit that profile to you this weekend then?
Well, so we have 2 more. We have the Saturday game, Pittsburgh-Cincinnati, which essentially acts as an elimination game. Cincinnati 8-6, Pittsburgh 7-7. So there's a big emphasis on that game as well. And then Cleveland-Houston as well. Houston 8-6, Cleveland 9-5. Significant game for both sides. I think we should talk about each one. Where do we want to start? Do we want to go Saturday game?
Yeah, start with Saturday. Rudolph in, no chase. Browning's been awesome.
So exactly right. Here we go with the total again. A QB game question mark. And this has been the case for so many of these. We've had uncertainty at quarterback. We've had outdoor games with weather. Hasn't mattered. They've still got over the total. Here's another short total, 38 or 37.5, depending where you're looking this morning. We'll talk 38. We'll go over 38. Now, this is a Bengals defense that in that Minnesota game lost DJ Reader. Significant loss on the defensive line for a defense that isn't very good to begin with and has been trending down the last 4 weeks. But you take him off of that defensive line, it gives Pittsburgh an out on offense. They're going to be able to run the football up the middle on the Cincinnati Bengals defensive line now. It's a significant loss. And so this downgrade that you're getting from Trubisky to Rudolph maybe isn't sort of going to be the full impact you would expect because there's such an out for the Steelers to move the ball on offense. On the other side, we saw Jake Browning against a very good Vikings defense figure things out, start to move the football. Concerning now that you're without Chase for this game, but I think that this Steelers defense, now without both of their starting safeties, is still going to give up big plays to this Bengals offense. And so to me, this is another game, even with it being that divisional rematch, which traditionally skews under, we're just at too short of a total for how important this game is for both of these teams and how we've seen all of these games trend. So I would go to the over here and continue that look. Cincinnati-Pittsburgh over 37.5.
Okay, and you had Houston last week. You've been on fire. Now what do you think? Cleveland, Houston, Keenum again. And the thing I can't get past, Cleveland number 1 in points per game at home, allowed, last on the road.
So we'll go over here as well. And this is, again, it's an ugly total, but it's my favorite look of the week at the moment as we're looking at current prices here on a Friday morning. So we'll go over 40.5. Okay. Another game that fits that profile very well. You mentioned the Browns defense. It's been skewed from the points perspective, which is the commonly referred to stat, just because the Browns have given up so many explosive plays on the road. There's some other stats that show that the Browns on the road have played a little bit better, but I really think that it does matter. And you're seeing the performance. It just doesn't look the same when the Browns are on the road. Couple injuries up front in the pass rush for Cleveland to keep an eye on as well that I think can be impactful. But this for Cleveland going on the road, it's the first time we've seen Flacco indoors since the Rams game. The last 2 weeks have been outside. A little bit of weather impact. It was a good Bears defense last week. Now they're playing a Texans defense that's trending down, has defensive injuries, multi-level. You're missing likely Will Anderson. Cashman's banged up at linebacker. Thomas in the secondary. Multi-level injuries impacting the Texans defense, which I think is going to be a problem. Then you have to remember they just played overtime as well against Tennessee. Game went nearly a full extra 10 minutes. So that was a big game for Houston. Now coming back, I think Case Keenum is a little bit more comfortable in his likely second start in a row. And so to me, this is a spot where it's just another one of these games that fits very well into that profile. The Browns' pass rate has been through the roof as is with Flacco. And I think they continue throwing. And I think we see Houston do their part as well. But super short total here at 40. Let's go over in this one as well, as both of these teams play to that same sort of urgency we've seen from all these playoff matchups.
What do you expect Saturday night and the respected money taking the Chargers and the points?
Okay, so if you're watching right now, we'll do the same thing we did with this one like we did with Houston last week, because most spots right now have the Chargers at 12.5. This is a standalone game on Saturday. A lot of people watching this are going to be struggling to find the streaming service that is exclusive to carry this game. So maybe give yourself a 5 to 10 minute buffer before kickoff. If you're sitting down to watch this, that's going to be a fun scramble for many. But wait this one out until tomorrow. There's going to be a lot of interest in Buffalo, and it's probably very likely going to push this back to 13. I like the Chargers at home getting 13 points. I think they keep this much more competitive. We talk about things that have happened this season, like the playoff games. This is a spot with the new coaching bump that we have seen 2 other times this season with the Raiders and the Panthers. In both of those instances, it came through, and we both times saw that team get a little bit of value on the numbers. So this game was 9.5 on the look ahead, and it was kind of the perfect storm of things that happened last week to push this number out as far as it is. You had the Bills dominate. The Cowboys, who were dealing with the flu, played much worse than anybody expected. And then you had the Chargers obviously quit on Brandon Staley on Thursday night in a game that everybody was watching. So we see essentially a 4.5 point adjustment. And what's interesting is with market ratings that cover the league as a whole based on closing point spreads versus final scores. If you look up to this point in the season, the Bills and the Chargers were rated within about 4 to 4.5 points of each other on a neutral field. And so obviously you have the downgrade to Herbert, a lot of that priced into those differentials. But now we're seeing that off the charts because the Chargers have dropped from about 14 or 15th in those ratings all the way to 32nd. And the Bills have jumped up all the way to second. And so we've just seen a massive adjustment from last week to this week that I don't think is warranted to begin with. I think it went too far, but we saw it go even further because of this coaching change, which is actually a plus historically for teams in the following week. And something I'll say about Smith, who's coming in as the head coach, I'm not going to put him on the same level from a motivational standpoint as Antonio Pierce. But when we think about the big issue with the Chargers, obviously it's been injuries, but it's been a defense that's had a lot of issues all season long. Smith has been with the defense for a long time. Players really like him, and I think you get this element in a similar way that the Raiders got from this rallying around the new coach coming in, who's the defensive guy that they know. I think you're going to get that same effect with the Chargers on Saturday night. And so to me, this number has gone too far, allowing too many. I'll say wait right now. Wait for 13. You'll get it tomorrow. Take the Chargers plus 13 for Saturday Night Football.
Okay, excellent breakdown. Adam Chernoff, our guest. Again, follow him on X. He's at Adam Chernoff. Podcast is called Simple Handicap. We have about a minute left in the segment. You're going to hang around for one more segment with us. Who would you give the MVP to today?
I don't know. I don't want to. I'm not afraid to say I don't know. And then for this one, I don't know. I think it's clearly the winner of this game based on the odds that are being presented. I say this game is Baltimore, San Francisco. I mean, you have the two favorites playing each other in a massive game on Christmas. Everyone's going to be watching. But it's so hard to handicap the voters that I don't have a good answer for it. Okay,
because we'll then tie it into who you think is going to win the game, what you make of the point spread now, 5.5 at last check pretty much everywhere for the 49ers now, and that's been kind of ping-ponging back a little bit this week. But I want to get you your breakdown on that and find out who you like on Christmas night, the biggest game of the week, one of the best matchups that we've had, if not the best of the entire year. That's next with Adam Chernoff here on Follow the Money. It's VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Holidays are here. Let Omaha Steaks take the guesswork out of gifting. Get gift packages that are guaranteed to make spirits bright all winter long. OmahaSteaks.com. Save 50% off site-wide. Use code VSiN at checkout. Get an additional $30 off your order. Filet mignons, burgers, jumbo franks. Easy to prepare meals that are ready in a flash. Omaha Steaks, the possibilities are endless. OmahaSteaks.com. 50% off site-wide. Use code VSiN. Get an additional $30 off. Gift from the heart and a gift that will be remembered with every unforgettable bite. Minimum order may be required. Double shot every Friday with Adam Chernoff. Simple Handicap Podcast. Rolling on with the NFL. Art Smith going into your pocket here. You got to win out to go over the win total. The line has crept up now as we go from Ritter to Heineke. Also some suspensions with the Colts. Now Atlanta laying 2.5. What do you think? And also you've been on this Colts over train.
Art Smith has been in my pocket for about 4 months at this point. It's not getting any better. Boy, this is do or die for Atlanta. That game against the Panthers, that was just painful to sit through. You're right, Pauly. This number took off yesterday. It wasn't injury driven either. It's been full on pro opinion entering the market. We had one earlier in the week. A couple other groups have had them since. This number is quite telling based on the move here. I think this is a point, though, where the Colts coming in a bad spot. That is a defense that's getting away with a ton and an offense that, as great as they have been for those overs, again, like you're looking at them facing the Steelers down 2 scores at home. This is a bit of a rocky spot. The Falcons get their offensive line back. Several starters have been out, all trending towards playing. Heineke in gives them a little bit of a bump. You're going to see Robinson more involved because Heineke's under center. This is a spot where the Falcons win, cover, keep the season alive, keep the NFC South interesting. Going to be tough to get through, but we're taking the Falcons one last time.
Wow, you are confident here with this team, and I listen to the podcast all the time. It feels to me like you're a big Steichen guy.
Definitely. Mitch, you said it in the first segment, like the coaching mismatch here is enormous. It is. I don't know if it's enough to overcome the spot and how it sets up for Atlanta in this one-off game. I think that this is a spot where Atlanta plays through. But there's no question Steichen's done a phenomenal job. But this is a spot where I'm going with Atlanta. Okay, so what you said before the break, it is very difficult to handicap the voters when it comes to awards. Purdy is minus $2 in that range almost everywhere, even a little bit higher here at Circa. The point spread for this game is 5.5
Pauly thought when it was the opener at 5, I think he said it's way too short. And I've heard a ton of people make the case for the 49ers. What is your position here on this game?
Okay, it's going to completely come down to what happens with the 49ers defensive line injuries. I think that is a massive impact on this game. So watch later today, see what's going on with Hargrave, see what's going on with Armstead. What does not get discussed, in my opinion, enough is the fact that the 49ers on the season, 28th in EPA per play against the run, 22nd in defensive success rate against the run. You can run on San Francisco. The way that San Francisco has been able to disguise that is by building massive leads. So teams have not been able to run on San Francisco because they have been playing catch up. If you are Baltimore now and you're coming into this game, you have a passing offense the last few weeks that has been anything but crisp, is the way that I would describe it. It's not right. The drop back passing game hasn't been as good as we probably expected it to be earlier in the year. This has to be a game, especially now with Keaton Mitchell out, where you lose more explosiveness, where the Ravens have to revert and just run like crazy, like we have seen them do the last couple of seasons. This cannot be a game that Monken wants his offense to look like how he wants it to. He needs to revert. He needs to run Lamar. He needs to use multiple backs out of the backfield. He needs to attack the middle of the field. If those two guys are out, I think you're going to see interest in the Ravens and this number tick down. Now, with all of that said, if those two guys play, if the 49ers get an early lead, I don't know how the Ravens are consistently going to get stops, because this is a 49ers offense that's playing at another level. And there's just a lot of variance to me with this. I don't have an opinion on the side. My initial thoughts were, how can I find a way to bet Baltimore in this game? Because I thought maybe it was just pushing a little bit too high. That was my stance on it. But to me, it all comes down to those two defensive line injuries. Don't know the status of them. Can't bet it. If they're in, this number is going to go up. If they're out, this number is going to come down. That's what the Ravens have to do in this spot if they want a chance to stay competitive with the Niners.
Okay. Our previous guest called it the Fraud Bowl. Certainly the loser of this game, everyone will mock them and say you can't beat anybody good. Miami at home against Dallas. All 10 Miami wins are against teams with a losing record. What do you think?
Yeah, I kind of throw that angle out the window for this game specifically, because I think you can say it about both teams. And I think if you're evaluating sort of the more fraudulent of either, if you can even call it that, you're probably criticizing the Dolphins' schedule, especially the offenses they have faced recently. You're probably criticizing that a little bit more than you would be criticizing what the Cowboys have done. The reason I liked the Cowboys in this game was because I thought last week wasn't maybe a true representation of what they are. And I know the Bills dominated them, but I do think that flu situation really mattered. And we've seen it really now for 4 weeks, where any player that has had this illness or flu designation on the injury report, their performance has dipped significantly. The Cowboys had 10 plus guys fit that criteria. And so, again, it's not a full excuse that I'm lobbing out. They still got absolutely killed, but I think that they certainly can show better in this game. What worries me for Dallas in this spot is they lead the league in man coverage rate. They play more man than any other team in the NFL. If Dan Quinn keeps the defense consistent and goes out with the same coverage scheme and tries to go man straight up against the Dolphins wide receivers, it doesn't matter how many offensive line injuries the Dolphins have. Tua is going to get the ball out of his hand in under 2.2 seconds even. He's going to get it out quick. These wide receivers are going to win, and the Dolphins are going to put up a ton of points. So Dan Quinn has to throw some sort of an adjustment out. The path here for the Cowboys defensively is pressure up front. It's going to have to get there extremely quick, but the Dolphins have had at some point this week every single offensive line starter not participating in practice. And so that's going to be a massive injury report for Miami that we're going to see later today. The status of the guys on the O-line are huge, because that's really going to dictate if the Cowboys can do enough on defense to potentially earn the cover. So for me, Cowboys are nothing but waiting to see that injury report. Hold off on making any bets yet.
Okay, final game here on the docket. Important one for the Vikings. They get the Lions twice over the final 3 weeks of the season in their playoff Lives on the line, obviously. Respected money on the Vikings this week. Lines are now down to 3. It's even money here on that 3 at circa, and I'm seeing that trend in other spots the same way. Do you agree with the Vikings money this week?
Mitch, I'd say respected money is an understatement. It's been very respected money all week. Pros I talked to, they're all on it. Pros who are in group chats with other pros saying they're all on it too. Like, it has been consistent pro money all week on Minnesota. Detroit's going to be a very, very popular side this week in terms of just people going out, looking at the number and taking it. And despite all of that and the volume coming in on Detroit, I mean, there's been nothing but buys coming in on Minnesota. And so to me, that's been pretty telling, because you think about Detroit last week, they were one of the more popular pro sides overall against the Denver Broncos. And the reason we're seeing this flip is because the Denver Broncos defensively compared to the Minnesota Vikings defensively, night and day in terms of tendencies of scheme, in terms of pressure rate, in terms of how frequently they're able to switch up against play action. Everything that the Broncos do poorly is everything that the Vikings do well. And the Lions were able to run the ball consistently. They got play action going. They took advantage of the Broncos' third road game in a row. And now they're facing a Vikings team that is just such a different matchup for them that I think it's going to be a problem. And fitting to end with the good old Jared Goff betting checklist. Is he on the road? Is he laying points? Is he under pressure? And I mean, we've been talking about it for 4 years, and you're saying yes to all 3 in this game against the Vikings. And we know that's where his performance dips quite a bit. And so really the reaction here from pros is that win against Detroit was solely matchup based. It wasn't necessarily them sorting everything out. Now they're facing the Vikings on the road in a tough spot in an early game in a packed stadium. Lots of love for the Vikings from everybody that I respect so far this week.
You're the man. We have 45 seconds here. You had for those who don't know, Yamamoto signed overnight with the Dodgers, 12 years, $325 million. You had a question for us about the Dodgers?
Are the Dodgers not allowed to promote the Angels? Or, pardon me, are the Rams not allowed to promote the Angels? It was like Ohtani just arrived in the city yesterday. He's been there for 5 years.
I know, right? Yes.
It's 45 minutes away. Yeah. It was the most ridiculous promo of an athlete I've seen. Well, I don't know. There must be a disagreement there between the Rams and the Angels. That was silly.
No, good observation. Follow him on X, at Adam Chernoff. His podcast is called The Simple Handicap. Love talking to you, man. Happy holidays. Have a great day with you, the wife, the family, coming up this weekend as well with Christmas. Thank you. Best of luck this weekend.
Same to you guys. Same to everybody watching as well. We'll see you on the other side of the weekend.
Yep. We'll recap last night's betting action with Win Some, Lose Some next here on VSiN.
Last night? Wow, winning. Or was it a rough one?
Well, they can't all be winners, can they?
Loser! You're a loser!
Pauly Howard recaps the night in sports betting in Win Some, Lose Some.
Puka first touchdown, 8-1. Rams to win between 7 and 12 points, 5-1. To score first and win, plus 220. Shaheed anytime touchdown, plus 375. Successful 2-point conversion, plus 270. Lakers sat everybody last night on a back-to-back. Minnesota 4.5 up to 8.5. You could have middled it. They won by 7. Pelicans +1 went off a 4-point favorite and routed the Cavs. The Bulls from 3.5 up to 6 blew out the Spurs. And what was that in the bowl game? South Florida and under. From 5.5 down to 3 and 57.5 down to 55. 45-0 Bulls.
Good look by Syracuse last night.
Oh, God. Horrible. Dallas Stars, 11 straight first period overs. 10 of their last 11 games have gone over.
I found minus 132 last night.
Really? Got to keep jumping on that.
The first period,
That's been great. Subscribe, be part of the team. VSiN.com, our radio and podcast friends. You always want to see these tweets and videos. Never seen this before? How about a deer and a dog playing chase? He's got the fence. The deer's outside, the dog in the yard, behind the fence, and they're just going back and forth. Maybe they do this every single day. They're coming in. All right, we go all the way back, and let's run it back. You good? Okay, here we go. I got you here. I have the lead. That's awesome. I can't believe that video. Over and over and over again with the deer and the dog having a good game of chase. This is my little boy enjoying life. Having a good time out at just hanging out in the water. Getting ready, looking around. Corgi? Little corgi hanging out?
I think that's called splooting when they do that with the back legs.
Okay.
My dog Dexter used to do that all the time.
All right.
And this guy, I saw a video of this. The dog eventually takes off and scoots.
Good for him.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
I cannot begin to tell you how bad of a loss that was last night for the Pistons. Updated numbers at DraftKings in a second. They've lost 25 in a row. The record in a single season is 26. Their next 2 games are against Brooklyn. The record's the 2010-11 Cavs and the 13-14 Sixers. The record for most consecutive losses is the 76ers. Trust the process, 28 in a row. They took money, +1 went off a 2-point favorite. Utah sat 4 of their top 7 scorers. Cade Cunningham said, "We're not 2-28 bad. We're going to turn this around." Or 2-26 bad, excuse me. Utah was playing their 3rd game in 4 nights. They gave them 50 points off turnovers and rebounds. As Monty Williams said, "We were outworked." They are chanting, "Sell the team," during the game. Updated win total at DraftKings is 9.5. That'd be the record. 9. It's under 5-1. Will the Detroit Pistons win 10 games?
Is there value on that?
Look at the schedule coming up. They might not win a game till February or March.
What'd they give Monty Williams?
It was $70 million.
Gigantic contract.
I know. That could be problem number 1.
They've also been picking extremely high in recent drafts.
Yeah. How can you have all these high picks and be this bad? 26 in a row.
And last night, I'm looking at the injury report in the during the day yesterday, and it's just one guy after another, not playing, ruled out for the Jazz. I'm like, if they're going to win a game, it has to be tonight.
Outworked. 3 games in 4 nights, debacle, just like this. Alabama Slugger sent this in. You go to a movie and your first move is to take your shoes off? 2 people?
And then put them on the seat right in front of you.
There you go.
Raise them up so everybody in the house can see them.
Oh, God. At least they had socks on, at least. Great job putting them on Front Street. Man, you sent this in. Residential masterpiece? What is this? Do you know what you have any info on? It was in Fortune magazine?
Well, they when you really break it down and look at it from level by level, this place is just absurd. And the reason why it's taking off in popularity, one of the BTS singers from that group, he I don't know how much of it he owns, but he bought a chunk of it for $26 million. Look at that. Look at the way it's framed. Look at the way it's shaped. Look how high it is.
Yeah, I like it.
It's incredible.
That is good. Great job sending that in. Lose some. No flex, week 17. We couldn't get Miami, Baltimore for likely the 1 seed on Sunday night.
They did.
And we have 10 early and 3 late.
The league really did a poor job this year flexing. It's the least amount of flexing I can remember.
Yep.
Remember, they teased us, so we can flex out a Thursday night, out a Monday night.
Yep.
Why even have the rule then if you're not going to do it?
Terrible. Lose some. It's a win some and lose some. I just watched it along with Luke, our producer. Murder in Boston. 3-part series on HBO. I remember this. It was national news. The Charles Stewart story. Oh, my God. Check it out. It's worth your time. The final episode was this. It's bananas.
Time frame? When did this actually happen in real life?
Was it late 80s, Luke? 89. I remember when it happened.
Okay.
And this is just wild. 3 parts. Murder in Boston on HBO. Couple bad beats. Rams laying a half, second half. Up 13-0. Saints score, no big deal. But then the block punt. They're not going to go 80 yards. They get the short field that also put their team total over.
The game over as well.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, ridiculous. Juice Reel. A free betting intelligence app and a tool every bettor needs. It links your betting accounts into one app. In-depth analytics on your betting history. Access to the betting history of billions of bets placed by all Juice Reel users. Billions of data points. Tail the winners, fade the losers. Download it now. REEL Juice Reel. Apple App Store, Google Play Store. It's free. Juice Reel. Well, you said it there. I mean, when the injury report was coming out last night for Utah, out, you still can't win the game, and you get outworked. You're not supposed to lose at home when a team's played 3 games in 4 nights and 4 of their top 7 starters are sitting.
Yep.
They would tie the record with a loss Saturday against the Nets. They would break it with a loss against the Nets at home Tuesday. But after that, it's Boston, Toronto, Houston, Utah, Golden State, Denver, Sac, those are on the road. You can't even look at this and say, well, you play the Spurs at home or you go to Washington and you're going to win that. I mean, they're putrid.
This would be fun, a fun exercise, playing the schedule game with the Pistons.
Yeah.
Can you find 8 more wins on the schedule for them this year? Is that possible? You want to take a little bit of that, if you could? Under 9.5 is 5-1?
I do. I like that. I missed now. It's really come down. Someone is actually offering a prop where they win a game. I think it's like, 400 to 1 or something.
I think DraftKings had that.
Oh, well,
I think it was DK. It was 1,000 to 1.
Oh my God.
They lose out, I think is what they call it.
Yeah, right. I think it's the perfect storm. You have a coach who has all this power and all this money, and he's going to do it his way and teach these young guys, a lot of them who can't play, how it's going to be. And, I mean, you know what he said after the game? I got to be careful with what I say. It's from Monty Williams. And he just laid it out about how we were outworked, out hustled. How can this happen? And then it seems like these guys are a little tough to coach or some issues going on, too.
Okay, we've had this discussion.
You nailed it. You can't have top 5 picks every year and look like this. It's a scene, man. It's now a home court disadvantage. They're chanting, sell the team during the game, and it's loud. Okay.
At the risk of being the Mr. Scrooge here on Christmas weekend, we've had this conversation before about, the generation, 20-year-old kids nowadays.
Yeah, bro.
You can't deal with them, right? And people
communication's big, yeah.
Right. People will chime in, 40 years old and above. Then they'll tell us, I can't believe what it's like. Right? People who own businesses, I can't trust. Anyway, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
Long story short, is there something to it where the pride's not going to be there? And oh, by the way, these contracts that kids are getting nowadays are more than ever before. And they're like, my contract's paying me $9 million over 3 years. I play basketball because I'm good. I have no passion. I don't care if we win basketball.
I can't believe
Am I being an awful person for suggesting that?
No, there's something like that. That plays into it. I make all this money, and it's, okay.
It's
fine.
also something.
I'm so worried about social media and what I'm doing off the court. What you see what Zion's doing and Tyreek Hill and some other stuff. But certainly Tyreek delivers and a great player, but too focused on what's going on in your personal life.
How many players have the drive of Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan?
Yeah.
What's that percentage of players, right?
I just saw the story. It was from Smush Parker. They had lockers next to each other. He goes, don't talk to me. You're not on my level. You don't have enough notches under your belt to have a conversation with me. Some people might think that's mean, but that's also Kobe Bryant. But how about Cade Cunningham? We're not 2-26 bad. Yeah, you are.
If you lost to the Jazz last night, yes, you are.
That's embarrassing. I mean, if you can't win that game, when's the win coming?
No kidding.
So you also have this, and we've talked about this many times. You think you want to lose to these guys? That's where the motivation and pride comes in
on the other
side. You don't want to lose to these guys. They're going for a record.
Well, here's another thing too. Again, the point spread is the equalizer, right? Not only is it a 26 game losing streak.
25.
25. What are they? 5? Are they 5? 19-1 ATS now? In that stretch?
Wow. Getting blown out. Yep.
Like that's that should be impossible to be that bad ATS. In pocket plays what we are betting tonight, this weekend, moving forward for Christmas weekend next here on VSiN.
Was on coke if his girlfriend was not done.
These games are a burial, a blowout, a human lock. You can bet your children's children on these games.
I was so good that whenever I bet, I could change the odds for every bookmaker in the country.
All right. I'm in the penalty box. Didn't go our way last night. Shaheed gets me. Of course, the Saints score 1 touchdown the first 3 quarters, but it was a bomb. Longest touchdown under 39.5. The Saints also couldn't kick a field goal. Both teams to score a touchdown and make a field goal, and largest lead under 14.5. All no good last night, Monday Night Football. or Thursday Night Football, excuse me. We turn the page now. Soccer. If this loses, I'll be very disappointed. League 2, Mansfield Town, $1.60 against Sutton. Sutton United is in last place. Mansfield's hot. Some places the second or third choice to win the league. They're in fourth place in the table. They've played well. I'll leave $1.60 on a packed weekend and matches every day other than Christmas coming up in soccer with the lower leagues. Championship League, the level under the Premier League. Ipswich leads over 2.5. That's an early start tomorrow morning. 8 of the last 10 Ipswich matches have gone over 2.5 goals. Also, Plymouth and Birmingham City over 2.5 as well in the Championship League. Give me the Cowboys in the Fraud Bowl, +1 against the Dolphins. I'll take the Browns, also a bit of a mini hedge against the Texans with my future ticket on the Texans. Browns lane 3. I don't think it's going to go well for Case Keenum, who didn't do much in the win last week against the Titans, and Flacco's been unbelievable. Buccaneers lane 3 against Jacksonville. Same thing. It's going to be Beathard for Jacksonville. Mayfield's been hot and very disappointed in Jacksonville's defense the last couple of weeks. And talking to you and Chernoff as well, I got to take the Packers. The Packers can't win this game. I don't care who's out.
Oh, you don't? Okay.
I don't care. It's Bryce Young did nothing last week. They scored 9 points and won. They haven't run a play in the fourth quarter with the lead. At least it's not Desmond Ridder, who I was taking on the road last week. Green Bay season on the line. I'll lay the 5 with the Packers.
You also have some pending here.
Lions look ahead. Lane 3 against the Vikings. They can win the division for the first time since '93. I didn't think Nick Mullins would look that good against Cincinnati. Okay, can he do it again? And don't be a moron, put more on it.
There you go.
Took the 2.5 with the Browns and also laid 3. I just think it's going to be it's a big drop-off from Stroud to Keenum. I mean, I'm not splitting the atom there.
All right. College basketball play.
Looked good yesterday.
Weekend.
All right.
This number might be around for another minute or so. I've watched Kentucky basketball my entire life. This team is phenomenal. Now, I'm saying
phenomenal.
Wow. The power rating that this team can play to, I'm blown away at the talent on this team. This is one of Calipari's best teams. Now, I'm setting myself up for failure because it's him as the head coach, who I can't trust as far as I could throw him. But watching this team play for as long as I have, I love so much about the makeup of the team. And oh, by the way, they have Reed Shepherd, who, man, another Kentucky fan asked me a question 2 weeks ago. Said, "Can you imagine a college basketball team that had like 10 Reed Shepherds on it? I think they'd be 40. I am up to my ears in tickets on this team to win the national title. I finally bet them to win to make the Final Four last night at 5-1 as well. They're like 17th at Bart Torvik, 20th overall at KenPom. That's fine early on with the numbers. I'm telling you that the power rating that this team can play to is as good as any team in the country. Cowboys money line. I want to make this a whale play. You can find even money right now on the money line against the Dolphins. So it's going to go one of two ways here. I bet it earlier. If the injury report from Miami comes out in my favor today, I will keep adding and I will bet the Cowboys much bigger. If it doesn't come out that way, I'm not gonna do anything else with it. But it's a very key injury report. You need to really check out who's going to be playing on that offensive line for the Dolphins and find the status of that. And also some of the key players on defense and the skilled guys as well. O-line being the key, and Buccaneers, Jags. This kind of fits Chernoff's criteria. He didn't bring this up as one of the plays. Both teams kind of need it for their playoff lives.
Yeah.
Buccaneers, Jags. I think Beathard will be fine moving the football against his Buccaneers defense, and the Jacksonville D is terrible. They can't stop anybody right now, so I'll go over 41 in that game.
All we want for the holidays is some NBA action. Oh, Falcons-Colts over as well.
Yeah, pending that one, yep.
Colts 11-3 to the over this year. Great schedule Saturday. Bucks, Knicks at 9 in the morning. Celtics, Clippers at noon. 5 games on Christmas. Get $150 instantly in bonus bet just for betting $5. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use code FOLLOW. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook, code FOLLOW. The crown is yours. Here it is. Will the Pistons lose out 700-1 at DraftKings? Will they still be stuck on 2 wins January 17th or later by January 17th, 18-1. And then you can bet when will the next win come against? Who will it come against? January 10th, it's the Spurs. It's 13-1. They're in the 3-1 range with the 2 Brooklyn games. All that's up. And again, the adjusted win total is now 9.5 under 5-1.
Will they beat Brooklyn this week?
No.
They play them Saturday, then next Tuesday.
No.
One of them games is at home.
Yeah, the Tuesday game's at home.
Yeah.
Not happening. And that would be the record then.
After that, I mean, they get Portland. No, check that. That's November. I got to get to January here.
Look at the road schedule coming up. They got a long road trip.
At Houston,
They're playing
at
top
Utah,
teams in the league.
At Golden State, at Denver. That's the same road trip. They come back home. They get Sacramento. Houston's in there. Yeah. Oh, they play at Washington on January 15th.
Yeah, who cares? I mean, Washington. What's that? Yeah, like.
They get Minnesota on the 17th, hence that date, but then they get Milwaukee back-to-back days.
I go back to something you said about young people in this generation. You got to pick a street here, right? I mean, this could go a couple directions. It could get worse, or you could say, I'm mad as hell, I'm not going to take it anymore. And I'm tired of being a joke and a punchline. But for Cade Cunningham to come out and say, we're not 2-26 bad, we're going to get this turned around, he looks defeated.
The look on his face, the body language overall.
Not good.
Let me bring this up. Okay, so we started the show with the Rams-Saints game from last night. Rams covered, game went over. They were impressive. Another pending bet that I have, 2 weeks ago, Rams are plus 240 to make the playoffs.
Right now.
2 weeks ago, we talked about it on the air, gave it out. They're minus 250 this morning.
Loved it, yeah.
Now, how about this? On the season, Puka Nacua after last night, 95 catches, 1,327 yards, has 5 touchdowns. He needs 129 yards over his last 2 games to break the record set by Jamar Chase a couple years ago, 1,455 for a rookie. He needs 11 catches to break Jalen Waddle's record of 104 a couple years ago. He is all the way down to like 650 to win the Rookie of the Year this year. Stroud was minus 20,000 last week. Going to miss the game again on Sunday.
As I understand it, it was back-to-back games with a concussion.
It's him, bad. Where it's really, really bad.
Yep.
We talked about this for a minute yesterday. Can anybody else steal this award? If Nacua breaks both those records, like what does plus 650 turn into after Sunday when Stroud doesn't play again?
Is it Mac Jones part 2?
It very well could be.
He wasn't that high. He was $5-6, but if Stroud doesn't play if he misses 3-4 games in a row.
I think that maybe the numbers here are going to be too good for Nacua to ignore. I'll give you one other guy.
Well, here's what I said at the top of the show. Nobody has come in and dominated the league as a rookie like Randy Moss in 98. He had 17 touchdowns. Puka's got more yards. Now, the game has changed, but they also had Chris Carter and Robert Smith.
For sure. And they had Cunningham. Cunningham knew what he was doing. He threw the ball
staggering
deep.
What he's doing. I mean, the guy's $150, and then how creative they are getting him the ball. And the biggest play was the end around to get the first down, too, on the rushing.
Now, I bet a little Nacua last night. I could lose every bet because I don't have Stroud. But I'm heavy on Gibbs. I bet a little bit on Nacua if he were to steal it. That way it would neutralize some of the bets that I made on Gibbs. But also I would tell you this. Mm-hmm. This is a big if. But if Gibbs can have a big game on Sunday, he's beefed up to like 30 or 40 to 1 now. If Gibbs can, score twice, this is wishful thinking, he will get back. He will be in Puka Nacua range when we get back on the air next week. Where Puka is at right now, if Gibbs has a really good game and is flashy against the Vikings.
I wouldn't be surprised if the Texans win that they come back with Keenum again the following week.
If they win the game.
If they win the game. Play him at home against Tennessee and say, hey, rely on the defense, and this guy's a veteran, and we just beat Tennessee on the road.
That would be wild, because if he would miss more games than this, then it becomes real.
Yeah.
It absolutely does. I think books were close to taking it off the board at one point, saying, what's the point?
Yeah.
Guys got it wrapped up.
Merry Christmas. I'll see you Wednesday.
Yeah, same to you, buddy.
All right. I'm along with Humans Monday, and it's you and JVT Tuesday. We're back Wednesday. I got a kick-ass, unbelievable Christmas sweater Monday. Oh, I can't believe I found this.
Oh, beautiful.
This is so good.
And same to you, everybody watching, listening to the show as well. Have a great weekend. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. Enjoy it with the friends, with the family. Good luck with the betting as an aside as well. And we'll see you next week. Take care.